Why are you yelling at me?
I said, I know you're going to go with your parents and I'm going to be left by myself. You guys talk Hindi and nobody, you don't tell me what's being said. You think
Why?
I don't need to be comforted? You think
Did you say anything?
You think I'm okay? You think everything is okay with me? Why does everybody think it's okay for me to sit here and take all this abuse and not say anything and I'm not supposed to feel anything? I'm not supposed to care.
You are overreacting. You are overreacting.
What? Away from me. Get away from me.
Get away from me?
Forever. Understand? You think I'm
what
not
do
hurting?
I think?
Do you think I'm not hurting?
What?
Do you think I'm not hurting?
So
do
I need to be behave? Do you need to behave like this right now?
Nobody expected this move from Jenny. Not after everything we have watched. Not after years of tears, compromise, and waiting. One quiet decision flipped the entire story and forced fans to look at this relationship in a new way. The shock was not loud. There was no screaming clip. It was the kind of shock that lands slowly, then hits harder when you realize what it means. Viewers saw a woman who had reached a limit, not a meltdown, not a threat, a step that signals she is done carrying everything alone. If you are new here, I am Lily and this is Reality Drama Files. I break down reality TV behavior, patterns, and pressure in a way that keeps it real and fair. Subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments because this one is going to split opinions fast. What made this moment different was not anger. It was calm. Jenny looked tired, focused, and done explaining herself to people who already made up their minds. Fans noticed something in her tone that felt final. Less pleading, more control. That alone changed the energy. The word going around was paperwork. Not charges, not accusations. Paperwork. That sounds boring until you understand what it signals emotionally. It means someone is preparing. It means someone is organizing their story. It means someone is done being misunderstood. Pressure from Sumit's family has been part of this story for years. Viewers have watched rejection, cold responses, and endless waiting for approval that never really comes. This time, instead of reacting, Jenny moved quietly. That scared people more than any argument. Some fans saw strength, others saw escalation. The comment sections lit up with one big question. Is this protection or provocation? Is she standing up for herself or pulling the relationship into a new kind of conflict? Sumit's reaction made things even heavier. His face said shock before his words did. The kind of shock that comes when someone realizes control is slipping. If this step was only the beginning, what is Jenny preparing for next? And is Sumit ready for what comes with it? For anyone who jumped into this story late, this did not start yesterday. This pressure has been building for years, on screen and online. From the start, Jenny and Sumit were never only dealing with each other. They were dealing with a family system that never fully accepted the relationship. Viewers watched long stretches of waiting, delayed plans, and conversations that ended with the same wall. Cultural conflict has always been part of their storyline. That part is real and complex. But what fans also saw was repetition. Promises made, then paused. Hope raised, then quietly lowered. Jenny showing patience again and again. Sumit asking for time again and again. Each season added another layer of emotional weight. On social media, the tone stayed tense. Clips, interviews, and fan reactions kept pointing to the same theme. Jenny felt stuck in a cycle where she was expected to understand everyone else, while her own limits were treated like inconveniences. That kind of pattern wears people down slowly. No big explosion, just constant pressure. What makes this different from one bad fight is how long it has lasted. This is not one argument. This is years of feeling like approval is always one step away and never fully arrives. Fans saw Jenny defend Sumit again and again. They also saw how often she was left waiting for family acceptance that stayed out of reach. Some viewers say, this is just part of cross-cultural relationships. Others say patience should not mean self-erasure. That debate has been happening in comments for years. What changed now is not one insult or one scene. It was accumulation. Behind the scenes, Jenny's tone started shifting in recent appearances. Less hopeful, more grounded, more tired. That shift matters because it shows internal change, not just external drama. At some point, patience turns into self-protection. And the real question is, what exact moment made Jenny decide waiting was no longer an option? What was said, shown, or felt that finally pushed her from enduring to preparing? Over time, you could see something changing in Jenny. Not in one dramatic scene, but in small moments that most people scroll past. Her confessional tone got quieter. Her pauses got longer. The energy shifted from hopeful to careful. That kind of change usually means someone is no longer trying to convince others. They are trying to protect themselves. Isolation plays a bigger role than people admit. Being far from home, dealing with rejection, and feeling like you are always the one bending creates a kind of emotional fatigue. It does not look like crying every day. It looks like going numb. Viewers sometimes mistake that for strength. Sometimes it is survival mode. Public criticism adds another layer. Every clip turns into a debate. Every facial expression becomes a screenshot. Fans pick sides. That constant judgment can make someone feel like they are living under a microscope. When family rejection and public opinion stack on top of each other, the pressure does not feel temporary. It feels permanent. On screen, Jenny has talked about feeling alone in decisions. That matters. Feeling unheard over time can change how someone approaches conflict. Instead of reacting, they start preparing. Instead of arguing, they start organizing their thoughts. That is often when people start keeping notes, saving messages, and writing things down for their own clarity. Documentation does not always mean legal action. Sometimes it means emotional survival. It means wanting to make sense of what you have lived through. Fans who have been through long conflicts recognize this pattern. You stop trusting memory alone. You want receipts for your own sanity. This is where the story turns from emotional to strategic. Quiet planning replaces loud pleading. That shift is what makes people uncomfortable. It feels serious, because it is. Jenny did not wake up one day and flip a switch. This looks like the result of months, maybe years, of internal buildup. The calm before a move often means someone has already processed a lot privately. The real suspense is not what Jenny feels, but who helped her put those feelings into action, and what advice pushed her from coping to preparing. Who stepped in and said, "You should start organizing this," and why now? At this point, Jenny's move starts to make more sense. She did not act on impulse. Somewhere along the way, she connected with someone who offered guidance, a neutral voice who helped her think clearly about her options. This was not about confrontation or blame. It was about organizing her experiences in a way that made sense to her, keeping track of what she had gone through, and making sure she could show her perspective if needed. Documenting emotional stress is not complicated. It is about keeping notes, saving messages, and reflecting on situations that caused repeated pressure or anxiety. It is something many people do privately to understand themselves better, to process what they have endured. It does not have to involve anyone else, but it becomes significant when a situation reaches a tipping point. Fans often misunderstand it as dramatic or overreacting, but in reality, it is a practical way to take control of your own story. Private coping and public action are very different. One is about processing emotions, the other is about preparing for a moment when the story can no longer remain private. Jenny has been doing the private work for months, maybe years, and the public steps now are simply the natural next stage. Some viewers applaud her preparation. They see strength and self-respect. Others criticize it as unnecessary drama. That split is exactly what drives online conversation around reality TV moments like this. And then there is the first hint of outside witnesses. Someone who is not part of the immediate family, someone with an outside perspective, begins to appear in the story. They did not start the situation, but their presence validates that Jenny's experiences were observed by others. Even fans who doubt her perspective are forced to consider, maybe this is not just one-sided. The tension rises because the moment Jenny makes this private preparation visible, the balance between perception and reality shifts, and everyone starts wondering what will be revealed next. Then comes the friend who unexpectedly shifts everything. Not a stranger, but someone who has seen parts of the story from a distance. Someone outside the immediate family drama. Their perspective adds weight because it is independent. And that changes how viewers interpret what they thought they knew. On reality TV, outside voices can either confirm what fans suspect or throw the entire narrative into question. This friend didn't arrive to take sides or create conflict. They observed patterns, tensions, and moments that weren't always captured on camera. Their presence alone makes the audience reconsider previous assumptions. Suddenly, clips that seemed minor take on new meaning. What once looked like a small disagreement now feels like a pattern of repeated pressure. Fans begin replaying old episodes with this new lens, trying to spot the moments this friend allegedly witnessed. Reaction online is instantaneous. Fans dissect every detail, create side-by-side comparisons, and flood social media with theories. Reaction channels grab the clips, analyze tone, and highlight subtle behaviors. Every screenshot becomes evidence in the court of public opinion. Some support Jenny, pointing to the friend's credibility as proof. Others argue the perspective is incomplete or exaggerated. The conversation becomes a storm that grows faster than any single episode could. Sumit, already navigating family expectations and public attention, feels the pressure escalate. Viewers see moments on screen where he hesitates, freezes, or visibly struggles to respond. His behavior reflects the weight of scrutiny from Jenny, the family, and now the outside witness whose perspective fans treat as validation. The tension builds in a way that looks effortless on camera but is intense beneath the surface. Every fan reaction, every clip, every comment pushes the story forward. And suddenly, Sumit is no longer just managing family dynamics. He is under the lens of thousands analyzing every move he makes. Once the outside perspective surfaced, social media went into overdrive. Hashtags started trending almost immediately. Fans split into camps. Some defending Jenny's right to protect herself. Others defending Sumit and his family, insisting the story is more complicated than it looks on camera. Every clip, every snippet of confessional, suddenly becomes evidence in an ongoing debate that stretches across platforms. Reaction videos multiply by the hour. Channels dissect expressions, tone, and pauses, while comment threads explode with opinions, judgments, and speculation. The internet starts behaving almost like another character in the story, shaping how the audience interprets events and influencing how the people involved might respond. Public opinion isn't passive. It pushes, it pressures, and it magnifies every decision, every hesitation. Some fans are sympathetic to Jenny, pointing out years of emotional stress and repeated disregard for her boundaries. They argue that preparation and documentation are signs of someone reclaiming control, not someone stirring conflict. Others focus on Sumit's family, emphasizing context, loyalty, and cultural pressures that complicate her actions. The balance between empathy and judgment is constantly shifting, and each new post fuels the ongoing narrative. Even the creators and influencers around the show contribute. They highlight key moments, speculate on unseen conversations, and add commentary that fans absorb eagerly. The cycle of posting, reacting, and debating feeds itself, creating a sense that the drama extends far beyond the screen. Sumit's responses begin to feel heavier under this scrutiny. On camera, small gestures, pauses, and hesitations become loaded with meaning. Every look away, every sigh, every hesitant reply is magnified, and fans debate whether he is cornered, conflicted, or simply overwhelmed. The pressure from the public, amplified by clips and opinions, turns private family tension into a spectacle, leaving Sumit visibly caught between loyalty, scrutiny, and the expectations of thousands watching his every move. Sumit's struggle becomes clearer when you pay attention to his body language. On camera, he often freezes in moments where he should respond. His eyes flicker between Jenny and his family. His hands clench. His voice softens. It's not anger or defiance. It's conflict. He is torn between loyalty to the people he grew up with and the partner he chose. Every decision, every word carries weight because there is no easy answer. Fans have noticed patterns. Sumit deflects difficult questions, laughs nervously, or changes the subject when the pressure spikes. These small behaviors repeat, and over time, they reveal a kind of emotional paralysis. He doesn't shut down out of disrespect. He shuts down because the middle is a place no one can occupy comfortably for long. On-screen moments show him hesitating to take a stand, sometimes apologizing unnecessarily, sometimes quietly watching others argue. The twist comes when he does something unexpected. In a recent scene, instead of retreating or reacting defensively, he acknowledges Jenny's preparation calmly. He does not criticize. He does not lecture. He simply recognizes her choice without fully agreeing. That moment surprises fans because it is subtle, measured, and human. It signals awareness without surrender, and it forces viewers to reconsider what they thought they knew about him. Even with this measured reaction, tension builds. Sumit's small gestures, looking away, swallowing hard, taking deep breaths, signal the strain of being stuck. The audience can almost feel him balancing on an invisible tightrope, where one wrong move could shift the entire dynamic. The quiet of his response hides an emotional breaking point approaching, and everyone watching senses that the next choice he makes might not be something he can easily take back. Tension spikes when private struggles collide with public attention. Jenny's preparation and the outside witness have shifted the energy completely. What used to be contained in quiet family moments now plays out under the glare of viewers, clips, and online commentary. Every sigh, glance, and pause carries weight. What was once personal becomes amplified, and small disagreements feel like high-stakes confrontations. Family reactions, or even the lack of them, add layers. Silence can feel heavier than words. A quiet stare, a refusal to respond, or a delayed acknowledgement communicates judgment, disappointment, or disapproval in a way that can sting more than anger. On screen, fans notice subtle expressions that suggest frustration or resignation, and they project meaning onto them, fueling the narrative even further. The energy reaches a peak in a scene where Jenny stands firm, but measured. She is calm, organized, and focused, but every step she takes is watched. Every word she speaks, analyzed. Sumit's family reacts differently in public than they do privately. They do not escalate with shouting, but their body language communicates stakes that are just as high. The contrast between her composed presence and their tight-lipped responses keeps viewers on edge. Public pressure adds another layer. Comments, theories, and trending hashtags swirl as if crowding into the room with her. The private confrontation feels public in its intensity because everyone watching online has a viewpoint, and every reaction is magnified. The result is a charged, almost cinematic tension. The audience feels the weight of judgment, expectation, and uncertainty. Fans watch closely, anticipating whether the scene will finally tip into a larger reaction or remain controlled. Jenny's next move hangs in the balance, and the uncertainty keeps everyone guessing whether she will escalate, retreat, or take an entirely unexpected step. If you take a step back, this story fits into patterns we've seen on 90 Day Fiancé before. Across seasons, couples face recurring challenges, family expectations, cultural clashes, and the pressure of a relationship unfolding under public scrutiny. Fans might recognize the same cycles. The tension builds slowly, small incidents get amplified, and eventually someone takes a stand or makes a move that shifts the dynamic entirely. Jenny's journey reflects this pattern, but with nuances that make it unique. The years of quiet endurance, repeated misunderstandings, and emotional labor add context that casual viewers might overlook. She's not reacting in a vacuum. She's navigating a landscape that combines personal, familial, and public forces. When you compare it to similar couples, it becomes clear that the moment someone documents experiences or asserts boundaries is often the turning point. This isn't about blame. It's about behavior under pressure. For viewers, there's a lot to take from this. First, setting boundaries matters, even when it's uncomfortable. Private coping can only go so far. At some point, action becomes necessary to maintain self-respect. Second, public relationships have a ripple effect. Every interaction, even small gestures, can be magnified online. Awareness of that dynamic can help viewers understand why people act differently under cameras and social media scrutiny. Third, observing patterns helps fans distinguish between reactionary drama and calculated, intentional decisions. It's also a reminder that emotional pressure accumulates in layers. What seems minor to one person may feel like tipping the scale to another. Fans who watch carefully can often see the buildup long before a breaking point arrives. Jenny's next choice, the one that could redefine her relationship and shift the balance entirely, is looming. And viewers are left on edge, wondering which path she will take. The moment finally arrives, where everything feels like it's hanging in the balance. Jenny stands at a crossroads, not yelling, not pleading, but radiating quiet strength. She has spent years accommodating, explaining, and waiting. Now, for the first time, her focus is entirely on preserving her dignity. The cameras catch her composure, her measured steps, and the weight of all the decisions she has made silently up to this point. It is powerful because it is calm, not chaotic, and that calm carries more impact than any argument ever could. Sumit's response is still unresolved. On screen, he looks conflicted, torn between loyalty to family and the partner he committed to. There is no dramatic explosion, but the tension is palpable. Every glance, every hesitation, communicates that he feels the consequences of this moment deeply. Viewers can sense that the next move, whatever it is, will define how this chapter of their story unfolds. The uncertainty is almost physical, keeping fans glued to the screen. The beauty of this moment is how human it feels. It is not about scandal or spectacle. It is about choices, consequences, and self-respect. Jenny's quiet assertion of her boundaries has shifted the energy in the room. And in the process, viewers are left with a sense of anticipation and empathy. It's a reminder that sometimes the most gripping moments are the ones that simmer rather than erupt. Fans watching are already speculating, will she step back? Will she hold her ground even if it means more tension? How will Sumit respond once the world keeps pressing in? The story leaves space for interpretation, discussion, and debate, which is exactly what keeps a reality drama like this alive in social media and fandom culture. And as the next developments start to surface, with fans watching closely and reactions mounting, the stage is set for a follow-up that promises more revelations, deeper insight, and the questions everyone is waiting for answers to.